dun, dun. What's up, Internet? Welcome to a musical episode of the Creative Differences podcast. Just kidding. We don't sing that much, but we might because they all really like Hamilton. I'm Dallas, and I did not know how long Hamilton was.
I'm Colin, and how did you not know when everybody and their mother was screaming about it 5 years ago?
I'm Gaby, and I too had forgotten how long Hamilton was, even though I have seen it at least once on stage before.
And I'm Demi, and it's been 103 days and 12 episodes since I got these guys on an episode all together, but I finally did it. I told you guys I would. You'll be back like before. I promised that I would get them.
Okay, so what you could have done is you could have gone for a wait for it reference, but that's fine. No, that's fine.
I could have gone with what?
Wait for it.
But no,
I mean, well, guys, I was willing to wait for it. I was willing to wait for it. I finally got it, guys. I finally got them all on the same episode.
Proud of you. All it took was Hamilton.
Yeah, all it took was Hamilton. Thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda, for finally giving us something to all review. I'm so happy. I can be at peace now. Goodbye.
I have a question for Colin.
What up, my dude?
When you're talking about something because you're excited about it, do you usually scream the runtime at people?
Dallas.
What? I'm just curious as to how people talking about Hamilton 5 years ago was going to let me know that it was 160 minutes.
Probably us going, damn, that show was longer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but you weren't. You guys were just like, oh my God.
Also,
I'm not throwing away my shot.
Dallas,
Alexander Hamilton.
The album comes in 2 CDs.
I didn't have it. I didn't listen to it.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was one of my questions for you. When we get to Hamilton, because we're actually before all this.
True. I mean, basically. We're pretty much there.
Starting. Yeah.
Let's talk about Hamilton, guys.
No. We're going to do King of Staten Island first. Come on now. We got a whole conversation.
Let's do King of Staten Island. Gaby. How was the King of Staten Island?
This is going to be the most chaotic Creative Differences episode ever. But also, hi. I watched King of Staten Island, starring Pete Davidson, directed by Judd Apatow. And I, for the most part, liked it. I really like Pete Davidson. I've been a fan of his probably since he started at SNL, and I dug up his stand-up. So for a while now. I like the movie. It painted him in a really good light. My only problem with the movie is I kind of wanted them to go in a little bit. I wanted them to go a little bit deeper and hit more of the dramatic end of things versus the kind of like feel good comedy kind of bits, because I feel like it was on the cusp and it could have been amazing, and they just like didn't quite go as dark as you needed to. For everybody out there, the King of Staten Island stars, like I said, Pete Davidson. In it, he plays Scott, a guy that lives in Staten Island with his mother, and it's basically a reimagining of Pete Davidson's life if he hadn't found stand-up comedy.
Oh wow.
And he's named Scott after his father. His father in real life died on 9/11. He was a firefighter. And in the movie, Scott's dad dies as heroically as a firefighter just in a random fire.
Oh, I didn't know that's how his dad died.
Yeah, his dad died on 9/11. And so part of the reason they made the movie was kind of a catharsis and a way to explore grief for Pete. And so I expected the movie to get a lot darker than it really did. It didn't quite go there. It kind of kept him super charming and kept things lighter than I expected. And I was hoping it'd be kind of like a vehicle for people to see Pete as like a dramatic actor as opposed to just a comedian, because I feel like he does have the chops for that. He's extremely talented, and people kind of generally just see him kind of like as a fuck up, like a weirdo fuck up, and I don't really like that, because he started making some really like quality stand up at a very young age, and people really overlook that. Like, he's not even 30 and he's like really, really good.
Yeah, I like him. He's a funny dude.
Overall, I thought it was a really good movie, but it didn't quite go there for me and where I wanted it to go. And where I know that Judd Apatow movies can go because I've seen his other work. But I do recommend King of Staten Island.
Yeah, I still want to see it. And I'm kind of glad that, like, everything that you said about it kind of makes me want to see it more, because I was just trying to laugh, because I saw Pete Davidson and Bill Burr, and I like them both a lot. They're both very funny.
Yeah, it stars Bill Burr as well.
Yeah, and from the trailer, I was like, this is probably going to go to some pretty dark places.
It didn't really quite go there.
Well, that's good, because I was hoping it wouldn't. I just want to laugh.
The opening scene made me feel like it was, and then it didn't, and then I was like, this is fine.
Cool. We are different
So,
people, but we like similar things.
yes. Right now it's $20 on demand on like virtually every on demand version that you can think of. Like if you have Amazon, it's on there. If you have Apple, it's on there.
Dope. Sounds good. Are we moving on to Hamilton? I don't want to jump any guns.
Sí, vámonos.
All right, Hamilton. Colin,
Me.
what you think about Hamilton?
I mean, it's great. Like I don't know, it was kind of weird. Like I think I expected this to affect me more, but I think because I've listened to the soundtrack so much and because I've also seen it live, it was like, yeah, this is cool. Like it's still great. It remains great. I wasn't like sobbing, but that's fine.
Fair. It was good. I like it. I hadn't seen it before. I don't think I saw it in the ideal conditions to watch something like that for the first time.
I'm sorry, man.
It's okay.
Oh, were you surrounded by people who were singing along and
Yes,
whatnot?
I was surrounded by people who were singing
Oh,
and
yeah.
yelling.
I think if we're going to be honest,
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to stay for the whole show, Dallas, which is why I was like, I don't care. I'm going to have fun. And then when you stayed for the whole show, I was like, oh, no.
So you're like, I'm just going to scream through the parts he's going to see, and then he's not going to see the rest of it.
Yeah, I don't know what the logic there
I
is.
just didn't think you'd stay. I thought you'd be like this. Oh, because you were complaining about the time, too. So I thought he was going to get an hour in and be like, nah, this ain't for me.
But did
and
you
get up and
scream
leave.
during the first hour,
We
though?
all did. We were having a great time.
It's
It wasn't
from the
just
So it
jump.
me.
didn't matter if
It
he was going to leave
If
or
we're going to
not.
be honest, it wasn't just me screaming, but yes,
no.
I did. Because like I said, I was like, I don't think he's going to stay. So like, why would I not have a good time?
But also, I didn't point out
watching
the
this?
length until intermission because
No, somebody pointed out immediately because I was like, oh, this is 3 hours.
Well,
I was
no,
the
I
one
And
who
I
didn't
thought
hear
I
that.
was only going to stay.
No, I was the one who pointed it out immediately. That was why I
Oh.
left after Wait for It, because I was like, yeah, I've already seen the first act.
Oh,
I'm
wait
not
for
going to
it.
stay for this to finish.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to head out.
Okay. Yeah, because
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't hear anything about the time. And then intermission happened like an hour and a half in, and I looked up the runtime and I was like, oh, 160 minutes. That's a surprise. And then I was like, well, I'm here. Let's finish. But it was really
All right.
dope.
So beyond the runtime, guys,
Yes.
what did you think, Dallas, since this was technically your first time experiencing Hamilton at all?
Yeah, I'm more
Basically.
curious. I'm really curious about Dallas.
I figured it was going to be really good. I've heard some songs from it in the past. I knew that people I liked were in it. I love David Diggs. I love Jonathan Groff. I like everyone else. But like, yeah, it's one of those things that you have really high expectations and it meets them, but it doesn't surpass them. So it's like, I'm not blown away, but I am impressed. It was very good. So I can't be as enthusiastic as the people who saw it for the first time with no expectations or people who saw it live on stage, but I can at least say it was worth the 160 minutes. Yeah,
Gaby? Gaby, your thoughts? We already heard that you were yelling through it, but your thoughts?
I was having a great time with JoJo and Malaya. So I did not think that I was gonna feel so many feelings watching this because I had already heard the entire album through. Like I wasn't really interested in Hamilton. Then I was on a drive with some friends from like Southern California to Reno a few years ago, and one of our friends was like obsessed with it. So she played the whole thing, and I was like, oh, this is like really good. And then after that I found like a bootleg version of the show on in the depths of the internet, and I started watching it, and then I was like, no, we can't do this. We can't. This show's really good. This isn't living up to what it should be. It should be seen better. And then we went and watched the live show, and that like was amazing and made me cry. So I'd already seen a lot of iterations of Hamilton at this point, but there's just something about Leslie Odom Jr. Like, or is it just Leslie Odom or is he Jr.?
Yeah, no, it's Leslie Odom Jr. And yes, that man.
There's just there was so much depth to his performance. I did not like, and then after him, I went and I saw like the West End, the cast from England. They did like a live song for the Olivier Awards, I think 2 years ago. And there's no comparison to Leslie Odom doing it versus that other, I can't remember his name right now, the other Aaron Burr. And so that part really just it really struck me. It was so good. I can't get over Leslie Odom's performance. And then a lot of the other stuff that we missed out in the albums and other versions of Hamilton, like that gasp at the end and then the scream. I didn't even know those. I couldn't remember those being in the show, to be honest. But they were significant in this. So I kind of was surprised at how much more the original brought to it, if that makes any sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, this is the original production of Hamilton. So typically what happens is when another production comes around, like if it's a touring production or anything like that, there are things that might change, certain setups, certain choreography, whatever might change. I don't say that this is the original Broadway cast version because there are two original cast members that are missing from this one.
Who?
Amy Raver Lampman, who is most well known for The Umbrella Academy, and Betsy Struxness. They were both part of the original cast. They were in the ensemble, but the main characters are all still in this one. But yeah, I was actually surprised because I watched the first act at midnight the moment it came out.
I knew you did.
Of course I did. I was very surprised by how affected I was watching it. I was crying at points. Like when I heard Leslie Odom Jr. perform Wait For It, which I've been a fan of his since Smash, but getting to see him do it, I've officially now seen my two favorite Aaron Burrs perform as Aaron Burr. That was amazing.
Who was your other?
Joshua Henry, shout out to him because he's really good. I've been a fan of his since I heard his ham jams on Facebook.
What is a ham jam?
He would take Hamilton songs and then he would remix them in a different genre.
Got you.
He's really good. There were just times where it struck me emotionally because of the current societal climate that we're in.
Yes.
And how relevant that it is. And I just was feeling that as I was watching it. And it's really weird how relevant it still is, how very topical it is, even though it's about a bunch of white founding fathers. It's the way that Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote it and the way that he cast it, the way that he has made this story of this guy who immigrated and helped create the foundations of our current country that we're in, how he's helped make it relevant to our current generation, to a current generation of people of color who might relate on that aspect, and then using music that way to also help that relevance and to help relate to that. Because that's what I get out of it, more so than even it being a story about the founding fathers. I think that's what makes it impactful and relevant, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's beautifully shot. I've seen a lot of not a lot. I've seen quite a number of pro shots of live theatrical performances, and this is probably the best one I've seen. I love the way that it's shot. I love the way the editors did a fantastic job with it. This is a show that they filmed over the course of 3 days.
Oh, it was more than one.
Yeah, it's
one performance.
Well, it's more than just a performance. So it was filmed over the course of 3 days. They would set up cameras during the live performances, and then in the afternoon before they would do a full show, they would do all of their close-ups and stuff over the span of 2 days.
Oh, okay.
So all of their close-ups have no audience with them, which is why when we meet Alexander Hamilton for the first time, there is no applause.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I think it's beautifully shot, and it's a great show. The music's great. The choreography is phenomenal. The choreography only helps it.
Yeah.
Ariana DeBose is one of the ensemble cast members, and she's about to play Anita in West Side Story. So shout out to her. And yeah, I mean the whole thing, just when you get to see it come together, getting to see this particular cast perform the show, it's just something that a lot of us never thought we would get to see. Even though we knew that this was filmed, we knew that this was available. We just didn't know when it was finally going to be released.
Yeah. And I was
yeah.
wondering, I was like, they shot that 4 years ago. I was like, when is that coming out? Who bought it? Because I knew there was a bidding war, but I just hadn't kept up with it.
Lynn's relationship with Disney was going to get it.
Yeah, but I mean, there was still a bidding war.
There was still a bidding war, but Lynn's relationship with Disney at that point.
I have a question.
Yes.
That I think I saw something about it and then I'd completely forgotten. Are there still plans to make Hamilton into a movie? Or was that what this was?
Like an actual film adaptation?
Yeah, because I thought that was something that was happening.
No, I don't think there. Well, I mean, I'm sure that there are plans, but there have never been any announced plans to make a film adaptation.
That's true. I know that's the eventual plan, but they're probably going to wait on that for a while.
Shout out to the original cast most of the original cast who are in this because they're incredible. Lynn, Leslie, Renee, Philippa Sue, David Diggs, which is This Is How I Fell in Love with David.
Jonathan
Groff. all of them fantastic. Watching David in the show is hysterical, and Anthony Ramos. I can't wait to see him in the Heights.
Dude, Jonathan Groff, for the like 0.7 seconds he's on stage, it just steals the show. Like, holy
He's
moly.
amazing.
Like also I didn't realize how much passion he put. Like, there's a scene where he like, or during one of the songs when he like spits out of anger, and just like a pro just leaves it on his face. And I was like, holy moly.
It was funny because he did that, and for like the minute before that he was singing, I was just like, this is a song where you could potentially just spit, and like I don't want to
could
see
tell
it, but
he
I
was,
feel
like,
like it's gonna
salivating.
happen. Yeah.
He was kind of
Also, the lighting
salivating.
on
You
the
could see
show,
it around his
phenomenal.
mouth. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, this is just a really, really well made show, guys. And if you like musicals, you should definitely check it out. Even if you don't like musicals, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Also, I do want to talk about how, I mean, this show doesn't really exist in a vacuum, and it is something made by a person, and it's like imperfect, and there's a lot of discourse about it. And I do encourage like our audience to go and check out the discourse regarding the show, because they do bring up excellent points. Even though I kind of just want, like, right now, I kind of do just want to celebrate it a little bit, because it was just like a breath of fresh air and light, and in light of all of our circumstances right now.
It's a great piece of art, but if you want to know things about history, you should actually go seek out.
Yeah, I wouldn't
things
take
about
this
history.
I wouldn't take this as a Bible, because also Lin-Manuel took a lot of liberties in this show, and it seems like he really only based it on one account of history, if he even bothered to go out and look at anything else. Like every piece of art, obviously you have to take this one with a grain of salt, but overall it's one hell of a show.
Yes, with an interesting choice for a protagonist.
Yeah. Also, how do I put this? I saw the Lin-Manuel show where he presented it to the Obamas.
It's on YouTube if anybody wants to check it out.
Yeah, and it was originally just gonna be a mixtape, I remember, and then around like 2015, I was like, whatever happened to that? I wonder if that guy ever made that weird mixtape about Hamilton. And then it started showing up on my Tumblr feed, and I was like, oh my god, he made it into a show.
You want to know something really funny? You remember when they used to do like the Hamilton jams out front in front of the
For the
theater?
Ham for Ham? Yes.
Yeah, there. If you look online, there's one of David performing his verse from "Easy Come, Easy Go."
Okay, I gotta go watch it. I
Sounds
love.
really
But
dope.
yeah, we should move on.
Yes.
We should move on.
Well, actually, before we move on,
before we
can
move on.
I want to ask Dallas. Dallas, what were there any? Because I know that you're like a rap music connoisseur. Like, you watch rap battles and you
Mhm.
post about your favorite lyrics. I wanted to know, were there any particular lines from Hamilton that you thought were clever or cool, or like that stood out to you? Because that was also something I wanted to know.
There were a lot. It's very long, so I've forgotten most of them. But I did have a couple of things that stood out in particular, which was the 10 Dual Commandments, because that's a reference to a Biggie song, 10 Car Commandments, which is very dope. And then the way they did the cabinet battles was very cool too.
Yeah.
Because as someone who watches rap battles, I was like, oh, we can actually get a battle with W. Diggs as Hood Thomas Jefferson. That was fun.
As Hood Thomas Jefferson. Oh my gosh. There are a few verses from David in that show that I'm very proud to say that I can do at the same time rate that he does. I'm so happy.
Very nice.
That's always fun.
Oh, when he comes out and it's like Lafayette, or when he starts going, "You ain't never gonna be president." Oh my god.
No, I can do his verse in Washington on Your Side. Not gonna do that now. We should move on.
Yes.
Moving on. Yes, our next section, in case you guys have forgotten, because it's been so long since we've done.
It hasn't actually. We did one recently.
Yeah, but we're not all in it.
That's true.
Somebody was missing. I don't know, probably Gaby.
It's probably me because of family
Probably.
tragedy and all that.
It was Gaby.
Yes. Anyway,
Continuing.
going forward. So this week, the section is called What I Miss, because that's a reference to Hamilton. Who's going to start? Is it me?
So what did I miss?
I think it should be Gaby because she's the one who's been missing a lot.
Boom.
Holy moly! I have
Abby,
so
you've missed
many
everything.
options.
What-
Holy moly!
Did you narrow them down
Pick-
like Demi asked you to?
It's,
I didn't ask. I told her to.
yeah, she told me.
I demanded.
Okay, I'm going to mention just two. Actually, okay, I'm gonna start with one, and then hopefully I can narrow it. I got it down to like 3, I think.
It's fine because
so I'm
Colin
just
doesn't
gonna
have
start-
one, so you can just
Probably could
Take
do just
his.
4. Right?
Don't do
Don't get
4.
out of hand.
Jesus
Ma'am,
Live,
yes,
have it at
ma'am.
3.
I'm going to try to go as quickly as humanly possible here. There is one that I want to start with, and that I don't know if I've mentioned this at all. Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet. Holy moly. It's hilarious. Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet is a show on Apple TV Plus, and it's from the creators of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Mac,
And it stars Glenn. Starts. What's his name?
Rob
Um,
McElhaney.
Rob McElhaney. I don't know how to
Yes.
pronounce his name. So Rob McElhaney, and it's about an MMORPG company, I believe, and the company's game is Mythic Quest, and it starts off with them releasing their big expansion called Raven's Banquet, aka why the show is called Mythic Quest: Raven's Banquet.
Yes.
And it's basically about a giant dysfunctional family. And the backdrop is a video game company. So you have programmers, you have testers, you have corporate calling in, and it's really great. It's a bunch of nerds and it's hilarious and actually has a lot of heart in it. It's highly rated on Rotten Tomatoes, and I do really recommend it. It was so much fun.
I'm definitely planning to watch it. I have some things I didn't know about it that I'm finding out now because I wasn't told.
Oh, like what?
Jake Johnson and Abed are in this show.
Oh, they are. Abed is not playing. Danny Pudi is in it, but he's playing a character furthest away from Abed.
Oh, nice.
And Jake Johnson is in. I didn't want to ruin it, but there's an episode of the show that is like a complete departure from the show. It's just like a random one shot, and it's amazing. It stars Jake Johnson and Kristen Milioti.
Milioti.
She plays Kristen Milioti, and it's my favorite episode in the whole season. And that's I don't want to say anything else because it's a great surprise. But yeah, Jake Johnson is on the show for like one episode.
Will I spoil it if I tell people why they know Kristen Milioti?
She's the mother from How I Met Your Mother.
There it is.
Yeah, and she's in Wolf of Wall Street, and she's going to be in a movie with Andy Samberg on Hulu called Palm Springs, like later this month. So that's Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet. And the other one, there's so many. Okay, I've narrowed it down. I'm going to do 2 more really quick. Okay, so the next one is The Great, which is on Hulu, and it is about Catherine the Great, and it stars Elle Fanning and Nicholas Holt. And oh my God, it's so funny and ridiculous. And it's basically a comedy. I was mostly watching it for the costumes, if I'm being honest. But the costumes are amazing. I don't know. I can't tell if it's a mini series or if there's going to be a season 2 because I'm not quite done with it.
There will be a season 2.
Yes. Okay. It's amazing and hilarious. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And it's basically it takes place in the 18th century, I believe, Russia, and it's about the coup that Catherine the Great did against her husband. Catherine the Great is considered one of the greatest monarchs that came out of Russia. She like greatly improved the conditions of everyone in the country. And before that, like the country was basically almost run into the ground by her hugely incompetent husband. And she basically had him killed so that she could be emperor. And she's kind of my hero. A little bit. And the show it's really funny.
This just in. Gaby supports murder.
We knew that.
Stop.
Well, we did, but did the audience?
Probably.
Stop it.
Okay, sorry.
She improved the country, guys. It was for the greater good, the gray areas.
Yeah, we need to
Anyways,
move on, bro.
Yeah, no. Let me move on. And then the last one I wanted to talk about was Never Have I Ever, which is on Netflix. It's Mindy Kaling's new show, and it stars a bunch of like new people. It stars Maitri Ramakrishnan, who is a Canadian actress. This is her first big starring role. It also stars Darren Barnett and Jaron Lewison, who are also in one of their first starring roles. And it's about Maitri plays Davy, a student who lost her father kind of tragically in the middle of like a school event, and her kind of dealing with grief and coming back, but it's a comedy. It also, what I like about it, it focuses on her culture as an Indian American and her religion, which I don't think we've ever seen in like a TV show like this. It goes into like Hinduism, and it like there's one episode where they do, I don't want to say it wrong, but there's like a festival for the god Ganesha, and they like actually take you through it, and it's like really cool.
Interesting.
and also something I've just never seen before. And what I like about the show is that it's hilarious. I feel like it's really relatable if you're the children of immigrants, because there's definitely a duality to our culture sometimes. And so there's parts of it where she feels like she's way too Indian or like not Indian enough, which I think we can all relate to when we're the children of immigrants. And it also deals with like parents' expectations of you, especially high expectations. Deals with grief. It's narrated by this really famous tennis player. What is his name? I can't remember his name. Oh, McEnroe. John McEnroe. McEnroe. That's
John
what
Oh,
it is.
McEnroe.
angry guy.
John. Yes, angry guy. He's the narrator for some reason.
All
And
right.
then there's one episode where the narrator is Andy Samberg, and that's probably one of my favorite episodes. It's really sweet and sad, and Andy Samberg's the best. And because it's created by Mindy Kaling, there are obviously a lot of cameos from people that were on The Office
Nice.
and the Mindy Project. It's just a really good heartfelt and hilarious show about a girl that's just trying to make it through life, man.
Very nice.
So I highly, highly recommend it. And we can move on now. I'm so sorry. I took 5
You're
hours.
way over time.
As usual.
At the risk of going further or farther over time, I just want to say one more thing about Mythic Quest is that Imani Hakim is in it. And that excites me because
She is.
she was in Everybody Hates Chris. She played
Yes.
Tanya. And I haven't seen her since. And I'm so happy that she's in the show that I'm going to watch. Because
I'm like surprised that I recognized her. I was like, this girl, I've seen her before. What do I know her from? And it like I had to find her and look her up, and I was like, that's where I know her from. I know her from Everybody Hates Chris.
Yes.
Dallas,
one-
what have you been up to?
Yes. What have I been up to? I've been watching a show that no one has heard of except for me and like 5 other people that I've told about it. And the person who told me about it. It's called Sherman Showcase. And it comes on IFC, which is why no one has seen it.
Yes.
Because no one has IFC anymore because we don't do TV like that anymore. But it is created by and starring Bashir Salahuddin, and I just looked up how to say his name before we started, and Diallo Riddle. They are writing partners from Harvard who worked on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon and a bunch of other comedy stuff. Also, Bashir is on Glow, that wrestling show that I like, that I don't think any of you watch, so you're not going to recognize him. The show is produced by John Legend. Yes, that John Legend. And all of the episodes in season 1, at least, were directed by Matt Piedmont, who is not super well known, but he did that weird movie Casa de Mi Padre with I think that Will
Oh my
Ferrell.
god, I love that movie. It was so horrible.
Gabby, I think you'd like the show.
So amazing.
So, Sherman Showcase. First off, shout out to the homie Daniel. He put me onto the show. And the way he pitched it to me was he said, like, someone took that fake talk show episode of Atlanta and made an entire TV show around that concept.
Oh, wow.
But it's more like a Soul Train type of show than a talk show.
Oh, okay.
So basically, the premise is Sherman Showcase is this Soul Train-esque TV show that ran for like 40 years. And this show is like a fake looking back on it. So have different episodes. Have you?
That's like documentary now. Keep going.
Okay, yeah. So it's like the first episode is hosted by John Legend, and he's talking about different things that happened on the show. And then they have one hosted by Mary J. Blige, but it's not actually Mary J. Blige. It's an actor playing her. And she's
What?
like, this show is amazing. They have fake commercials. They do like all of that. They do fake music, but the songs still really slap in most cases.
Oh my god, Ray J's showcase? No.
Yes. So I was gonna say
Do
there's
they actually
cameos.
get Ray J on this?
There's cameos from a bunch of people, like John Legend, Tiffany Haddish, Lil Rel Howery, Neo, Ray J, 2 or 3 of the Wayne's people.
Oh my god.
Ray J is like an inexplicable antagonist in the season finale. That it's
Yes.
great. But
There's
they
a
have-
Black History Month special
yes, and it came out in June because the show is so ridiculous.
on Juneteenth.
Yes, and I haven't seen that one yet because it's not on Hulu. But the rest of the show is. I recommend you all watch it.
Yes.
It's ridiculous and it's
I'm
hilarious.
watching it tonight.
But they have different segments. Like they have a segment called Tiffany Haddish Tries Soup. And it's Tiffany Haddish with a bowl of soup. And she says, damn, that's some good soup. Like, this has been Tiffany Haddish Tries Soup.
Oh my god, that's like from the Amanda Show. With
Yes. It's like all of these ridiculous shows, but for adults.
Oh my god.
They have a segment, a commercial for Now That's What I Call White Music. And it's all of the white songs that Black people like. Like
like
What
the
You
ones
Want
by
to Do for
Bobby
Love by Bobby
Caldwell.
Caldwell. Fireflies by Owl City. Again, Another One Bites the Dust by Queen.
Oh, dude.
It's great.
I love how I said Bobby Caldwell and you said Bobby
Yeah,
Caldwell.
you can't bring up white black music without talking about Bobby Caldwell. They have like these fake movie trailers. There's one called Black People Were Right, the movie. And it's just
Oh,
about every conspiracy theory that black people believe being correct. They have This Is How He Did It, the Montel Jordan story, which is a favorite of mine. Temptations 11, which is about Motown artists trying to rob Berry Gordy for their money back.
yes.
It's
Temptations 11. I
it's
can't.
an amazing show. I watched the whole thing in like a night, and I don't even binge watch shows like that. But
I'm
this
gonna
show,
watch it.
it's hilarious.
I'm
Go
gonna
on
watch it.
Hulu, watch Sherman Showcase. It's great.
Oh my god, they make it in Glendale.
They do. They talk about
Dallas,
Glendale a lot.
Dallas, you need to apply to this show.
I'm gonna just bust in and be like,
Hello,
guys,
I have ideas. Here's my
I
notebook.
have ideas. You guys are great. I want to help. It's a great show. I recommend you all watch it.
That's hilarious. That's amazing. This reminds me of Documentary Now. Have you guys heard of that show?
I have heard of it. I haven't seen it.
It's also on IFC.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Documentary Now is supposed to be like this documentary TV show, and it's been on for 50 years, and the first season starts on the 50th year. And Helen Mirren like introduces everything, and it's basically just lampoons documentaries. Like it makes fun of like famous documentaries.
Yeah.
So if you're a fucking nerd like me and you've seen all these documentaries, you're like, this is hilarious. Otherwise, you're like, I think I understand this. I mean, you can still watch it if you don't know the documentaries, but if you do know the documentaries, it's even better. There's one that lampoons Hero Dreams of Sushi.
Oh, I remember that.
It's very niche, but also hilarious, which I feel like this show is probably a little bit niche, but also not.
Oh, extremely.
Oh, but I feel like that's
All right,
IFC's
guys.
strong point. Okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Let's
like-
move on.
Niche, weird comedy. But yes, moving on. To me, what you got? What we miss?
Since the last time we did this, I bought another lightsaber.
Nice.
I'll show pictures once it's been installed because I'm getting a dual installation going right now. Won't be for like another month. But a friend of mine introduced me to the Broadway show 6, which is really, really good. It's about the 6.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Is there like a way to watch that? Because I have listened to it extensively.
Maybe
like-
there might be a way.
All right, well, we'll have a conversation.
Yeah. But yeah, I got introduced to 6, and it is really good. It is about the 6 wives of Henry VIII, and it's done with modern pop music, and it is really good. It's like the 6 wives are giving a concert, and it's pretty awesome. I really enjoyed it, and it's not really
It's
long.
real
either.
good. It's also really short.
Yeah, it's like an hour or something. It's really good. And then I've also been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back for its 7th and final season.
Nice.
And it's been really good so far. I love that show, but this season has been really good. It's been fun watching the cast members or watching the characters travel through time and try and keep the timeline the way that it's supposed to be, even if it means that you have to keep evil people alive.
Oh.
It's been pretty fun. We have these enemies called the Chronicoms who go back in time and are trying to stop S.H.I.E.L.D. from being formed. And part of that means that you have to keep Hydra alive as well.
Yikes.
So it's been a pretty interesting season so far. I realize that I'm going to be very sad when the show is over. I'm not prepared for that. But Marvel, please, 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 please bring Coulson back to the movies. And I would also like to see Melinda May in the movies as well as Daisy Johnson, because Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, is Avengers level of powerful. And it's not fair that she is stuck on a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I have been doing, or at least those are 2 of the things I've been doing, because there's so much more.
Yes. One day we'll have an episode recapping all that, maybe.
But let us move on.
Let us move on to the news.
News.
We got news.
News.
Yes. First news thing. Colin Kaepernick signs a deal, not with the NFL, but with Disney.
I like the way that you announced that.
Yeah, you know. I've been waiting for Colin Kaepernick to
Right.
sign a deal for years. Not this kind of deal, but
Yep.
I'm happy for him because this is honestly probably better.
You want to tell them what this deal entails?
Yes, he has a partnership deal. First off, he has a production company called Raw Vision Media. The deal with them is telling scripted and unscripted stories that explore race, social injustice, and the quest for equity. That sounds like Colin Kaepernick to me. And there's also a docu-series, right? About him, about his life, about things like that.
I don't know if that's with Disney, the one that he's doing with Ava
Oh.
DuVernay, right?
Yeah, is that not with, is that a separate thing?
I mean, it might be one thing now. but I'm not quite certain if those two things are connected.
Well, if they're not, then he got some things working. Either way, I'm gonna watch all of it because I like Colin Kaepernick. I want to support him like the NFL didn't because they were being trash.
You are open about that.
I'm the only one here who watches football, so I'm the closest to the situation.
I figured it would be fair to bring some football in here, at least for you.
Yeah, thank you. I've never really been able to call the NFL trash on this podcast before.
But yeah, he's got a docuseries. Oh wait, no, it says that he'll be featured in an exclusive docuseries produced by ESPN Films as part of a first look deal. So I guess that is the docuseries that he's doing with Ava DuVernay.
So it's
Okay,
going to be
cool.
on ESPN. Yes, suck a dick, NFL.
Jesus.
Darn, I went too far. Colin saying Jesus.
I mean,
Did you though?
he wasn't ready. He probably just wasn't ready.
It just makes me glad I've never actually been to an NFL game, so I've never given them my money, even though I had wanted to go at one point.
I have been. They're very fun.
Now that we have a football team.
No, just like in general, I felt like it was like an experience that I should have. Like I should go to a basketball game, I should go to a hockey game, I should go to an NFL game. Like it'd be fun. But especially since like when I was in high school, I kind of kept up a little bit with stuff because I had to go to football games.
It's true.
But like I just they're just so racist. Like
Yes, but you know who's not racist? Colin
who?
Kaepernick.
Exactly.
And we're happy for you, Colin.
Yes, I hope
Brother Colin.
both Collins.
Both
We
Collins.
like both of them.
Both of our Collins are not racist. And I want them both to succeed.
Are we going on to the next piece of news?
Why not? To me, I think you should do the next piece of news since you are probably the most excited about it.
I'm definitely the most excited about it. Margot Robbie and Christina Hodson sign on for Pirates of the Caribbean standalone film. For the record, this is not the soft reboot or whatever the heck that Disney is planning. It is in no way associated with Craig Mazin's Pirates of the Caribbean reboot that he's doing. It is a standalone film that is supposed to take place within the same universe as the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Oh.
For some reason, people out there are like, they're replacing Johnny Depp with Margot Robbie. And it's like, that's not what happened at all. But okay, that's an interesting take. I don't think Margot Robbie is playing Jack Sparrow.
Or any sparrow?
I don't think so. Because they're not promoting it as a spin-off, it sounds as if this literally has no story connection to any of the films that we've seen before.
Oh.
That's
So they're making a pirate movie and they're just using the name to get people to come?
That sounds like that's a spin-off. That's just a spin-off. That sounds
I mean, a spin-off kind of means that you're associated with something that happened in previous stories, though. I think that's
or
why
like
they're trying to
or
make the
something
difference.
that exists in the same universe. I would just
I mean,
feel like
maybe. I don't know. They're trying to make they are very, very much trying to separate it from that particular story. So
Okay.
I'm excited though because I love Margot Robbie. Christina Hodson did Bumblebee, which I really liked. That's the first Transformers movie I've liked in a while, and she did Birds of Prey, which I freaking love. So I'm not mad at this news at all.
Me either. I'm on board now.
And I love Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I had a marathon of those movies the other day, actually, shortly after the news was announced, because I was like, oh yeah, let me watch. Well, I watched the first 3. I didn't watch 4 and 5.
it's for Penelope Cruz.
Yes,
Ah, cool.
And 5 is like they brought
Brenton
in their
Thwaites
kid.
and Kaya Scodelario.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I would not call that a good movie.
Not many people would.
I didn't care for
it
5.
was-
I like.
yeah,
think
I
I
didn't
liked
like
the
it
other 4.
either. I liked the kind of idea that they were trying, which is like a soft reboot, but I just didn't. Honestly, I would rather have Johnny Depp, Keira Knightley, and what's his name, Orlando Bloom in those movies 5 ever. But if Margot Robbie's coming in, yeah.
Yeah,
but if
no, Margot Robbie's coming in and she's playing a pirate. I'm not angry.
Yeah, me either. I'm not mad at all. This is gonna be really cool. I can't wait to see the costumes because I live for that kind of stuff.
Women pirates are awesome, and like you can watch
Yeah.
Black Sails if you want any more proof of that.
Oh, yes, I forgot about Black Sails. Time to watch. Yes. I used to read books about lady pirates when I was a kid, and they were a lot of fun. I kind of want to read books like historical women pirates.
Yeah, I've always just loved pirates in general. So, you know,
That's true.
I'm not.
You're into pirates. I forgot about that.
I love pirates. So I really want more pirate content in any way, shape, or form. If Disney wants to give us more Pirates of the Caribbean, that's great to me, especially if you're going to try and inject new blood into it, because I think that's what it needs. I think it does need something fresh.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good way of doing that.
Yeah.
I think they should put some more Caribbean people in it, given the
That-
title.
That too.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
hoping for
gonna
that.
say. Yeah, I was gonna say. I hope they actually inject, like, the kind of people that were in that area at the time, like
'Cause
natives
we've had like
and
what, one character of Caribbean descent in those 5 movies?
yeah,
Maybe.
and she was in it super briefly, wasn't she?
Calypso?
Who?
Oh,
Calypso?
just kidding. I was talking about Zoe Saldana. She
Oh,
was
she's
in
not
the
even
first
a
movie for
character.
like
She
2
was like
seconds.
She was in the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think with Margot Robbie's like
amazing.
constant campaigning for more inclusivity in films, I feel like Margot would pull it off more so than the
Hopefully.
previous films did.
I hope so,
Hopefully.
because like they're super white
Yes.
considering what
They
that
are.
part of the world looked like at the time. And
Cool.
looks like now.
Well, remember, Elizabeth was part of the colonizers, so
No, I know, but like
It's just like
still.
it's just a bunch of white people and our manager
In the
from
Caribbean.
the theater we worked at.
Oh yeah, he's there too.
well, no,
Love him.
wait. Barbosa had a very large hulking black dude as his
He
first
had
mate.
more than one black person on his
The
crew,
point
but, like,
is
none
that
of them
we-
had names.
The point is that we can definitely, I think they had names, but we can definitely count the number of like important black people on our fingers.
on one hand.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe two, possibly two. I wouldn't get too excited about if we can. We should
Yeah.
move on to the next piece of news, though.
See, Michael Keaton is in talks to play Batman again in The Flash.
I am curious and I am excited.
Sorry, hold on. They're acting like that movie's gonna come out.
Stop it, Colin. You say this every time.
And listen. Demi, do you believe? Do you believe? Not do you hope. Do you believe?
I am gaining more belief with more news that comes out, and I'll probably have more belief once DC Fandom happens in August.
To be fair, they haven't lost a director in a while.
I mean, the producer and the director are going to be at DC Fandom, so I'm assuming this is a thing that's actually going to happen now.
Haven't they been making this movie for like 6 years?
Yes.
Okay, just wondering.
They've been talking about making it for like 6 years.
Wait, they still
For sure.
haven't actually made it?
I don't know.
No.
Oh, I thought they like started and stopped filming in
No.
Australia.
Wait.
No.
I don't know where I heard that then. I don't know.
This movie's
what's going
also
on.
written by Christina Hodson.
Yes, it is.
That's funny.
And she's writing the Batgirl movie.
Damn,
She's
she's
busy.
getting work.
Get work.
Good for her.
Looking for a mind at work.
Yes, we are. Shout out to the Asian representation, because I know that she's half Asian, so getting that money. But Michael Keaton returning to the Batsuit, possibly,
Yay.
which basically confirms that this is a Flashpoint movie.
Which is weird
Does
to
it?
me because like
I mean, I guess, yeah. you're
there isn't an old Bruce Wayne in Flashpoint to my knowledge.
Let's be honest here, these comic book movies never like directly adapt these comics. They take the idea of the comic and then put them on screen for the most
Sure,
part.
they're just like alternate universe, boom, Michael Keaton, Beetlejuice is back. I'm a little disappointed because I've always wanted him to be in a Batman Beyond movie, and this
I mean,
is
that
not
could still
that.
happen.
It could happen.
DC's timeline's all over the place.
That's true. They might just do both.
They're still in early talks, so nobody's absolutely certain if Keaton's actually going to come back. If he does, I would be very interested because I did recently watch the 89 and 90s Batman movies back to back. I had a marathon one day. He's probably my second favorite on-screen movie Batman, so I would
your
be
first?
interested. Ben Affleck. I just think that Ben Affleck, even though I don't particularly like the DC movies that he's in, I do think he's a good, almost comic accurate Batman, other than a few details. But I think
Yeah.
he's got the attitude down. But Michael
like-
Keaton, I think, is really, really
agree.
good.
I agree with you about Ben Affleck. I'm kind of really sad that he's not coming back.
Yeah.
But
I'm also
Rob
really
Pattinson.
sad. Yes, Pattinson. But I'm also really sad that this means that Pattinson won't be joining the DCEU.
I thought that was established already.
I'm okay with that.
It was, no, not really. Because remember, we've all been confused as to whether or not it's actually in the DCEU, or if it's not, all that stuff. Is it a standalone, meaning that there's no cameos from other actors, or is it a standalone as in, like, no, it's not in this universe, like the Joker? But now I guess it's confirmed that it's not in this universe at all.
Well, I mean, they
And I'm
already
kind of sad.
they cast a Jim Gordon, right? Even though they
Yeah,
already
which
had
was
one
kind
in
of,
the DCEU.
yeah, that was kind of also a clue that this was not going to be in the same universe. But now that you're doing a Flashpoint movie, you could have made it the same universe.
True. I mean, hey, maybe he'll just pop up in the shadows somewhere with Zoe Kravitz.
That's also why I really wanted it. I wanted Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
That would have been interesting with a capital I.
Ooh, a capital I.
All capital letters.
Or all italicized letters.
Yeah, but now we're probably not going to get that. So a little sad. I would have also thought it would be cool to see Robert Pattinson and Henry Cavill's Superman. But, it's fine. We're fine.
Edward.
Michael Keaton's Batman is cool, and it'll be interesting to see how they bring his Batman into this universe.
Yeah, I agree.
Really playing with the multiverse here, guys.
I'm about
I
it.
feel
Like, there's so much stuff you can do with it, and now they're actually going to try to do something with it. In theory, assuming the movie happens.
Tangentially related, have we heard anything at all about Cyborg ever?
No.
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 Okay,
And
just
I
check.
feel like with everything he's saying right now, that might be out the window, guys.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens when the Snyder cut of Justice League comes out, because a lot of people are assuming that if that does well, that's going to lead to something. But I'm not quite positive about that.
Has anyone else spoken up about that situation? Like anyone else in the cast?
Nope.
Just the one black guy, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds like everybody else is trying to keep their jobs.
Ooh.
Also, they're going to try and sweep that under the rug when a DC fandom happens, because they're asking for questions right now for that convention, and I can just imagine the number of
are they going to like pre-screen them?
I bet you they are.
I guess they have to. Yeah, that's probably wise.
All right. On that note, we're done.
Oh my God, we did it. We did an episode with all four of us for the first time in 100 something days? 103?
Hey guys, it's been 103 days and 12 episodes since I got all these guys on an episode, and whew, hey, look, Ma, I made it.
Thank you everyone for listening to all that. Let us know what you thought about everything we talked about. Do you like Hamilton? Did you know how long it was? Were you blindsided like me? Thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon and Io, for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you, Demi, for editing and keeping track of how long we've been apart. 103 days. Thank you, Colin, for showing up so we can have everyone here for the first time in a dozen episodes. Thank you, Gaby, for joining in my enthusiastic NFL critique. If you just want to talk to us, because we're fun to talk to, you can find us on the medias. On Twitter, we're at y'all_different. Instagram and Tumblr, we're at Creative Differences Podcast. And on Facebook, just search for Creative Differences. That one's easy. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at a king named Simba. I need more people to talk to about Sherman Showcase, so hit me up. I'll tell you the best episodes.
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck.
Hi, I'm Gaby. You can find me on the Instagrams at Stegosoria. Soria is spelled Soria.
Hey guys, and you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled Dreemi. Thanks again for joining us. I finally did it. Also, we just recently had our first anniversary, so congratulations to you guys on making it a full year of podcasting.
Yes, we did it.
Look at us. We did
for
it.
a year.
Here's to another year more.
Yes, happy birthday to us.
It's been different, guys.
It's been different.